Hey, good morning, y'all. Happy Thursday morning here on Mornings with the Outlaw. Excited to welcome you all to Tom Holland Day on Mornings with the Outlaw today on this Thursday. Pretty much every topic that just happened to line up for today had to do with Tom Holland. So we're going to be covering the comments from Tom Rothman and Bob Iger over there at the Executive Roundtable. I'm sorry, Alan Horton at the Executive Roundtable that was had with the Hollywood Reporter. We're going to talk about Tom Holland and the news he broke that Uncharted is going to start shooting in 4 weeks. That's right, 4 weeks. After all this time, finally in 4 weeks, we're going to have shooting starting with him and Mark Wahlberg as Sully, but, Tom as Nathan Drake. And then the other subject matter for today is the Onward first reactions. That's right. There was a screening of the film a couple of nights ago. I didn't get invited. Apparently, I don't have enough subscribers here on YouTube to warrant getting invited to these premieres just yet, but I'm working on it. And a number of people already tweeted their social media reactions to the movie. So we're going to talk about all that today on Out Mornings with the Outlaw. I got my coffee, or, this, what I consider to be coffee. How is the mic sounding, everybody? Let me know. Some people are complaining that it's not loud enough and what have you. So I just, I turned it up as loud as I can. So hopefully that will solve the problem for some of you that have to turn it up in your headphones. If not, the other option is I'm going to have to go get me a Snowball mic or a Yeti mic that just plugs right in to the USB port. We shall see. All right, I want to say hi to everybody who's in here. What's up, Chris Scorpio? What's up, Andrew G? How you doing, Haskell? Good to see you again. MK Songbird, very nice to see you again. Rick Samoris, what's up, my man? PC, what's going down? Jake Yacovetta in here once again. Big shout out to Jake Yacovetta for that fantastic thumbnail for today on Tom Holland Day. He reached out to me. He goes, how many Tom Hollands do you want in this thumbnail? And I was like, make a variation. Make a variation. He's in 3 different things, and he certainly did a great job with that. Camshaft, what's up, my man? Really? There was some, Christian loved your Facebook post from yesterday. Some great talk about it on SEN. That's cool. I appreciate that. DJ Dash TV, what's up, man? Respect, for being in here this morning. Let's see who else. Ooh, the Prince That Wasn't Promised is up in here, doing the schlong thing. I respect that. Rock Karma, what's up? Semper Fi. Respect right back to you, my man. Let's see who else we got in here. Ben Landers, I already said hi to, I think. Andy Burnett, what's going down, my man? How are you? Let's see if we have anybody else that I haven't said hi to. Chris Rogers, what's up? David Chronic, how's it going? Randall Tan, how are you? Garth McMurray, well, are you shaving your face, getting ready there, Garth, for when I get to Atlanta? Let's see. Oh, Andrew Di Malanta, thanks for joining me, man. Good to see you. Kanu Haku Fu Nico Robin _DB, good to see you again. See that guy over there, how are you? Andy Burnett already said hi to you. Andrew Hale, what's going on? Let's get it. That's right, let's get it. Ben Lander says, John, all you have to do is put a thick book under your mic to put it closer to your mouth. Oh, well, there's a word for you. All right, let's see. Let's try that. Matthew Hannon, how are you? J-Dog, what's going down? My man, Jesse Carrera. Joey Pedras, your king returns. Talkside TWV, STEM W616, and Chris Barnes. Morning/afternoon, everyone. How is it going? Thank you so much for joining me today on the Outlaw Nation. Let me try that suggestion. I don't got a stack of books, but I do have a stack of magazines, so maybe that's the situation. Maybe I need to be closer like that. I mean, projecting has never been my issue, so I'm kind of surprised that it is now. But, you never know when you're doing this kind of thing. So, all right, anyway, thank you so much, as I said, for joining me today. Looking forward to having this fun episode before I head off to SEN Live. I am on SEN Live this morning with Christian Harloff and the crew over there. So I'm looking forward to being on the show with everybody and having a little bit of fun. It's always a blast when I get to do SEN Live. So let's jump onto this thing. And that's the first topic, and that is with Tom Holland. I mean, what an incredible situation here with Tom Holland and Spider-Man. For quite some time, or for a few weeks, it certainly seemed like there was some issues going on with Disney and Sony trying to work this thing out. And then eventually they did work it out. And this is coming to us in a roundtable with THR. They were doing Sony. Sony Pictures boss Tom Rothman was there and he was talking with Alan Horn from Disney Studios and a number of other executives from Netflix, Warner Brothers, Universal, Paramount. They are all part of this. You can go see this. You can go watch this roundtable if you want to get a little in-depth and watch these things in motion. The studio, Tom Rothman was asked about the possibility of continuing the partnership with Disney because, of course, Tom Rothman is the boss of Sony Pictures. He was asked about continuing his relationship with Disney for Spider-Man, and he said, I hope so. And remember, as I was just referencing, back in September, Sony Pictures and Marvel eventually agreed to bring Tom Holland back for 3 movies for the MCU, but it sounds like to me that they want to continue this partnership going forward. Alan Horn responded to what Tom Rothman had said and said, the fan base, which is important to all of us, seemed to really respond to what Tom and his folks had done before with our people, and they like it. So that's where that's what they are kind of banking on in this situation, is that the fan base is absolutely down with this thing, to see this thing happen, and is absolutely excited to see where it's going to go. And there's a lot of places that it can go, to be honest with you. And it's all a matter of like, well, where are we going to put it? Where is it going to belong? And that's what they're excited about, I think, in my opinion. How many more do they want to make here? Tom Rothman went on further to say, I think this was a classic win-win-win. I think it was a win for Sony. I think it was a win for Disney, and I think it was a win for the fans. And I agree. I think what's so cool about what Tom Rothman said here, and you see him here with Tom Holland, is that he understands the situation. He understands where this is going to go, the potential for it, the money potential for it, but not just that, but laying the groundwork for his own universe. You know, as great as Tom Holland is in the MCU as Spider-Man, it's always fun to see him do his thing. It will be fun to see him do his thing, eventually swinging back into Sony with everything that they're laying the groundwork with. Venom, with Morbius, with the Sinister Six, right? Even Mysterio possibly coming back. All kinds of things are possible here at this point with Spider-Man, with Tom Holland, here with the partnership between Sony and Disney. And I think they're saying this thing, it's the right thing for executives to say, to get people excited about this kind of stuff, to get people into seeing Spider-Man, but also you convey a consistency. And I think that's really the most important thing. You convey consistency that Spider-Man is going to be kind of used in this way. And maybe down the road, and it may be a little bit of a, kind of gamesmanship between Rothman there and Horn, is this idea that, well, Horn saying, people liked what we did with him, and Rothman saying, of course, I want to keep going because it's a win-win situation, and we all want to see Tom Holland be Spider-Man for quite some time. Where is it going to lead to eventually down the road? Will we have a tie-in to the MCU? Now, having Adrian Toomes show up there, Michael Keaton's character, aka the Vulture, show up at the end of the Morbius trailer, that was like the first salvo, I think, of them moving into the possibility of connecting the MCU with Sony, with Disney, with Spider-Man, through Spider-Man, right? I mean, even Ben Mendelsohn in some interview, I can't remember if it was with IGN or whatever, he said, that Spider-Man is the porn star of Marvel, and you could get rid of 30 other superheroes before you'd even consider getting rid of Spider-Man or losing Spider-Man. And he's absolutely right, especially Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I think that has to be reiterated here as powerfully as possible. Is Tom Holland is the reason for all of this happening. I don't mean Tom Holland made it happen with that drunken phone call, which is a very fun story to hear about and report on and talk about. But to be honest with you, I think it's the energy that Tom Holland has brought to the character of Peter Parker, the authenticity that people feel when they watch him in these films, in the Avengers films, in his solo films, the interactions he has with all the characters in there, the way he's helped world build his own universe, his own world, and the hunger people have to see Tom Holland do his thing as Spider-Man in multiple projects. So that's the situation going forward. Is that I think he's an essential part of it. I think the reason they're fighting for him is because people feel such an affinity for Tom Holland as this character and as Peter Parker. So that's going to be the key going forward to me, is can they keep Tom Holland interested? It's not just signing the deals and making all the money, blah, blah, blah. It's a matter of eventually Tom Holland, and this happens with all actors. Eventually, they do get tired of playing the same character over and over again. They do get tired of playing a superhero over and over again, or a superhero's alter ego over and over again. They need challenges, and that's going to be, I think that's going to be the big challenge for Sony and for Disney, is to create films that are exciting for Tom Holland as he grows as an actor. Remember, he's still a young kid. He's still growing as an actor as he spreads his wings out more and more. What's gonna be the challenge for him? I'm gonna bring it all the way down to a TV level, and you look at someone like the actress who plays Flo in those Progressive commercials. Now, go with me just a second. She was already an actress who was very well known in the comedy community here in Los Angeles, in the improv community here in Los Angeles. She was on the first season of Mad Men as one of those as one of those telephone operators there on the first season of Mad Men. But once she got this role as Flo, people got to know her as Flo. Now, but this is an actress who was capable of doing multiple characters. So in order to keep her kind of interested in staying as a part of Progressive, you saw the Progressive had her create all these other characters that are based on based on whatever she wanted to create, and they create like this Floverse of all her characters that are obviously her playing versions of these characters in the world of the Progressive commercials, because they know she needed to spread her wings a bit as an actress, and that's understandable. So you don't see her in sitcoms or movies or anything like that because Progressive pays her really well. She's kind of like tied to them, and so she has to only do this. But in exchange, Progressive kind of loosens the reins a little bit on her and let her create these characters and have fun with these characters. And I think that's going to be the key for Disney and for Marvel going forward. Disney and Sony going forward. Can they keep Tom Holland interested in the Spider-Man role? Can they create narratives and storylines and overall arcs that'll keep Tom Holland's interest as an actor as he grows as a human being and as a man? Who you are in your 20s is not who you are in your 30s. What you want to be challenged by in your 20s is not necessarily what you want to be challenged by in your 30s. So that's going to be the thing. So I imagine, don't be surprised that they'll start introducing the possibility of other Spider-Mans, of Miles Morales, of a younger Spider-Man, all possibilities of Spider-Gwen. All these possibilities, I think, are in play, considering the success of Spider-Verse, winning that Oscar, and the reception it got amongst the superhero fan community for that animated film, but also the rumors about Multiverse of Madness and Sam Raimi coming in for Doctor Strange. Is he going to bring in the other Spider-Mans, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, that kind of thing, to kind of keep it all fresh, keep it all interesting and fun, and then also kind of put it subconsciously in the minds of people that yes, we have had multiple Spider-Mans. Multiple Spider-Mans is possible. Why not make it happen? So that kind of like walking that line with Tom Holland and with his Spider-Man. So it'll be interesting to see how this all goes down. All right. I don't see many super chats. I see a couple of Streamlabs, so I'll get to those Streamlabs in just a second. There's 127 of you guys in here. I would love it if you all gave me likes. Swing that cursor over, hit that like button, get it above 100. That would be fantastic for me personally. I'm going to focus on Streamlabs and Super Chats today. Going to read some of your comments, but I really want to get the Super Chats and Streamlabs going for this show, just like you guys have it going for SEN Live. I think I'm bringing you good content, fun content. We're interacting, so would love to answer your stuff, and I'll jump into the stream. And Jake Yakavetta is putting up the Streamlabs addresses there, so if you want me to answer any of your questions, go through the Streamlab or submit it under Super Chat. I will definitely make a point of answering those questions and giving it my full attention and my full time. So let's move on to these first two Streamlabs questions, and let me bring them up here. It's from Andrew G. He's the first one. Yo, Rocha, continuing my comment of two Spider series from the other day. What if Marvel kept on with Holland in the MCU's Parker, and Sony got nuts and did their own stuff with a Ben Riley Spider-Man? That'd be fun. No Clone Saga hater over here, LOL. I think it would be fun with a Ben Riley situation, but once again, you're going to have to introduce Ben Riley, I think, in a film previous to the one you want him to take over Spider-Man rather, and that's going to be the key for that. It's like we got to get to know Ben Riley a little bit, because Peter Parker is in so many people's bones, in their bloodstreams from since they were kids. Ben Riley, I don't think, is anywhere near that, and that's where you would have to do that situation. If Tom Holland wanted to stay in the MCU, you'd have to create a version of another Spider-Man in another Spider-Verse type of situation. Yes, Ben Riley could totally work. I know that That would make Coy very, very happy to have a Ben Riley Spider-Man in the MCU, or sorry, in the Spider-Verse kind of situation with Sony. So that's where you'd have to go from there. Can you make that happen? Can you introduce Ben Riley? Can you cast it correctly? And will Ben Riley be able to generate the same kind of bucks and attention and goodwill with the fans that Tom Holland has with Peter Parker? Remember that it's not just about getting doing a movie about Spider-Man and putting someone in there as Spider-Man. You got to have the right person as Spider-Man. As I say, Tom Holland is the one. It is Tom Holland Day, so you got to give him some love here. Tom Holland is the one that really brings a lot of the attention and the fandom all in together in unison in loving his version of Spider-Man. I rarely hear a bad word from fans about how much they enjoy Tom Holland as Spider-Man. So we'll see how that goes down overall, and we'll see what storylines pop up for him and what new Spider-Mans they'll throw out here. Because, I mean, like I said, Miles Morales is still in play. I think Spider-Gwen is still in play. I think a number of them are still in play if you want to joke, if you want to kind of expand the Spider-Man universe, Spider-Man, and not just tie it to Tom Holland. All right. Our second Streamlabs here, it's from Giancarlo G. Jr. Says, a first time watching live. Man, you do the show early, but always enjoy hearing your take on some news. Do you think the success or failure with Venom 2 or Morbius will have an impact on the continuations of the Sony/Disney partnership? See you on SEN. Yeah, I do it early because SEN goes at 10, and I know other people jump on at 9 o'clock, and to me, this is a way to let you know, hey, I'm jumping in ahead of everybody else. I do get the views later on. The show's been doing really well as a new show, and I can't thank you all enough for making it happen, putting it over 2,000 views almost every episode, close to or over 2,000 views. Certainly that President's Day episode is almost at 10,000 views. Pretty incredible. So, little engine that could with the Outlaw Nation is this show, but my dedication to you all is to be here every morning, 8 or 8:15 a.m., to do at least an hour-long show talking about what's going on in the world of entertainment and hearing from you all about what you want to talk about in the world of entertainment as well. And that's kind of why I do it this early in the morning, because I get a little bit ahead of those people at 9 o'clock. I can be done by 9:30, slide on over to SCN Live, or jump on to the other stuff I have going on that I'm working to, build the channel up with. So those are those things that I kind of focus on, which is why I start a little bit early. I naturally get up at 6 o'clock in the morning anyway, 6:30 in the morning anyway. So I'm ready to go by 8 or 8:15 when the time calls for it. All right. So you're asking this question here. Do you think success or failure with Venom 2 or Morbius will have an impact on the continuations of the Sony/Disney partnership? Yes, absolutely. I think any success of any film when you're trying to create an entire universe, and especially when you're working in conjunction with another studio, is essential, is absolutely essential, because you need that kind of goodwill, good vibe, good feeling overall, that everyone is working towards a goal that is going to yield positive results financially and critically. I think that's really one of the biggest things in the world for studios. Obviously, for studios, it's about money, but quietly they'll tell you behind the scenes that they do like that the critics like their movies. That is important to them. Yes, out in public, they'll say, well, the fans loved it. That's all that matters. The fans, yeah, you say that, but I know a lot of them grew up reading these film critics and being inspired by these film critics and loving movies and wanting critics to love their film. Most people in Hollywood don't get into Hollywood because they don't want the ego stroke. Of course they want the ego stroke to know that they've made something good, and they have a subconscious amount of respect for film critics. And so they want critics to like their movies and the stuff that they create. So that's not out of the realm of possibility. Sorry about that. I'm messing with the microphone a little bit. This mic stand's a little wonky tonight. So that's not out of the realm of possibility that they have this kind of desire to have it be critically loved and financially loved. So yes, it will affect it, because then you're like, well, what storylines are working in these films that make money versus what storylines are not working in these films that don't make money. That's the big deal for them, is where is the money coming from? Where is the money first being generated from? Where is the money going to? Where is it leading to for us overall? And if it's leading to a positive result, a huge result, then that's what people want to see. So that's what I would say. Yeah, absolutely. It affects it. For example, because, I mean, you look at the situation, if Venom 2 falls apart, and Venom 1 was not received well critically, it certainly made money, but if Venom 2, this is an interesting scenario, and I brought this up way back on Movie Talk a couple times. If Venom 2 comes out and doesn't make anywhere near the money Venom 1 came out, then you have to put Venom 1 in that box of like fluke. And it was a fluke that it made this much money People liked it, but they all understood that it wasn't that great of a movie. And so when they came back for a second dose of it, realizing that it was just the same quality as the first one, they tuned out. They didn't need to come back and see it again. So those are those things that come into play for a lot of audiences, which is why you'll see a film like Maleficent do really well, or Secret Life of Pets do really well, and then a sequel comes out and doesn't do as well. Jumanji did incredibly well. That first film was mind-blowing. Second film comes out, doesn't quite do as high. It's about 20% less than the original film, and that happens because people come and see it and go, oh, it's more of the same. I already saw the first one 5 times. I'm seeing the sequel once because it has the same vibe as the first one, but nothing really new or ingenious here that keeps me coming back over and over again. So I'm just going to see it once. And that factors in. That's the mindset of moviegoers, right? They'll go and love something right off the bat and see it a few times. And then when they go see a sequel to that thing, and if the sequel feels like the same thing, it's not going to make the same amount of money because they already saw versions of this film already. So that's going to be the thing that I think comes into play here. And I think Morbius is going to do fine. I think Morbius is going to do well. That's the situation there with Morbius. I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be a fantastic film. I think we're going to get great performances from Jared Leto in the film and a number of people involved in the film. I don't think that'll be a problem. The question will be, can they find a way to kind of create this pseudo Sinister Six, which is what I think they are trying to work towards in a way that works for the fans. We'll see as this all goes forward. All right. Any more Streamlabs? Oh, I got one more in here. This is from See That Guy over there. Morning, Rocha. What do you think about Cary Fukunaga creating Ana de Armas's role specifically for the new James Bond movie? I think this shows how great she is. Hope her star continues to rise. Yeah, Ana de Armas is incredible. Of course, I rewatched Blade Runner 2049 again recently, and like the last week or two, just because I love the soundtrack so much from Benjamin Wallfish. Shout out to him. And I just got in the mood to watch the movie again, sat and watched it, and she's so good. She's so heartbreaking and sweet and touching and gorgeous and talented. The whole incredible package. Plus, she's a Latina, so I have a certain proclivity to watch her succeed, to want her to be successful. And then you see her in Knives Out, and it's a completely different role, and she's absolutely fantastic in that movie and does incredible work in that movie as well. So I'm not surprised at all that Fukunaga did this for her because, A, she absolutely belongs in a Bond film. She has that vibe. She has that kind of energy. She has that sexiness that you need, and yet the ability to kick ass physically when she needs to. So it goes along with what you've already seen from Lashana Lynch in the trailer. So I'm not surprised at all that he created a role for her because when you see great actors and you want to work with great actors, you're motivated to create roles that'll work seamlessly, organically in the work that you've already finished, right? You find a way to kind of weave them in, and I think that's what's so positive about what Fukunaga did. I'm a mad fan of her and of Fukunaga and of the James Bond and Daniel Craig. So I'm looking forward to see how this old combo comes together for No Time to Die. I'm hoping to God I get to go to that premiere so I can report on it for you all who follow me. And you follow me, you can follow me on at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Follow me there. I need a drink. All right, I need a drink. I'm stumbling over my words. I'm getting a little dry in the mouth. Yeah, that's the way to go, son. All right, we got 2 more Streamlabs. Let me jump into them real quick. Mike donated. He said, interesting how Sam Mendes lost to Parasite, a modern social satire. Sam's movie American Beauty is also a social satire that has seen its critical regard wane over the years. Very true. Do you think Parasite will suffer a similar fate? No, because, and I'll tell you this, honestly, I think Parasite, first of all, it's a Korean film, right? So that is, how are Americans going to comment on Korean class warfare or class systems or what have you, poverty and rich? So I think that's going to be one of those things. Plus, it has that idea of it being a foreign film. Therefore, only certain people are going to go see it. This thing is not making, a crap ton of money. It's making a good money, that's for sure. But it's not making like $1 billion. So where people would have to be like, whoa. But I also think that these concepts are universal that they're tackling here in Parasite. And with American Beauty, and I can tell you this, having been there when the film premiered, when the film came out, there were a number of people who were laughing about that plastic bag floating around in the air. Wes Bentley, they were laughing about the character of Wes Bentley in the movie. So although it was well received and it won the Oscar for Best Picture, there was already some issues amongst people who went to go see the movie and some critics who went to go see the movie about how certain characters are portrayed in the movie, how certain things happen in the movie. Plus, you don't have a Kevin Spacey situation with Song Kang-ho. I think that's a thing you can't discount as well, that Kevin Spacey kind of left a bad taste in people's mouths with the stuff that he's done over the last few years. Oh, sorry, lack of a better phrase. Left a bad taste. I don't know what you want to say. Left a bad feeling in people's eyes about the stuff that he did. And so that kind of stuff factors in as well. Plus, I feel like American Beauty is dated because Americans know those people, know that vibe from the 90s, but that house doesn't exist in the same way as it does in 2010s or 2020s. It's a different family going through different things. I mean, there's barely any technology in that film other than the phone, right? I don't think there's a cell phone. Oh, and then there's pictures, but I don't think there's a cell phone. So those kinds of things change everything, right? Plus, some of the characters in retrospect are pretentious. I really don't see any pretension in Parasite or any potential for pretension in Parasite because these are characters that are one is poor, or one section of the family is poor, the other family is rich, and they both are doing their things in their worlds. But I don't think they're necessarily caricatures in a way that's there to be made fun of. They're characters in a way that you can see stereotypes within their behavior, but they're also distinctly specific in their way of approaching things. So I don't think people are going to look back on Parasite and have that kind of vibe to it. I mean, look at how many foreign films we still revere that came out 50, 60 years ago, or 40 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 20 years ago. We still revere them for what they were and what they presented. Let's see. Andy Burnett, I rewatched your match with Dan this morning, and I love the back and forth of your pre-match build-up. Question, do you still drink the tears of all the haters out there? Have a good day. Yes, Andy, I've always drank the tears of the haters, although I found myself in a unique position. I've been around the game long enough that now there's a certain level of respect that's come to my endurance, my ability to stick around the game for so long and give it so much of myself, that I find that there's less and less haters out there and people who just enjoy to cheer against me versus people who actually actively hate me. So that's been a positive overall. Somebody commented on one of the videos that I had out that Rocha gets so much hate, but I don't know where the hate is coming from. I'd love to know if people could tell me if you see hate on the internet coming towards me. I haven't seen much of it lately. So if there is still people out there making videos or doing whatever where they're giving me crap or giving me some hate, well, I don't know. I haven't seen it. So that's what I would say to that. But I enjoy it. I enjoy that I enjoy that match. That match is fun to rewatch. Yes, there was a lot of buildup. Yes, it was a year-long pursuit of that title, and it was no joke. I mean, I was like really focused and studying, and like I kept visualizing the idea of getting to that point. I think where I stumbled against Ellis is because I wasn't mentally ready to go and grab that brass ring. But when I came back against Riley to get that #1 shot, I think it was at Spectacular. Then I was ready to take on Dan for that belt, and I won the belt. So it's like those kinds of things. The journey is full of ups and downs and failures and successes, and just like anything in life, there's no straight through line. And I think that's one of the reasons people enjoy my story so much is that I've had the losses and I've had the successes and the wins and what have you, and I've kept fighting to get those victories and kept fighting to win those belts. It matters to me to show what I can do in movie trivia and show what I can do in this league. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Haskell donated here. Morning, John. The multiverse has tons of potential. Live action Spider-Verse with Toby, Andrew, and Tom Holland. Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland. Kang, of course, Kang, definitely a big fan of Kang is the late great John Schnepp for sure. The TVA Time Variance Authority we saw in Loki teaser, maybe alt versions Cap, Tony, Ultron, etc. But where would you like Feige to go or do Thank you. Oh, I mean, I'm a fan of the multiverse thing if they're going to go that route. I think Miles Morales has to be introduced into this universe sooner rather than later, in my opinion. That's the way to go there, and what they're going to do with it. And of course, Spider-Gwen, as I mentioned earlier, that has to be a part of this overall as well. But yeah, people talk about Secret Wars. People talk about these other things that could go down in the Spider-Man storylines that could be interesting to see on screen as a feature film or a TV show. I'd be down with a TV show. A Miles Morales Disney Plus Spider-Man TV show would be awesome, would be badass. And remember, Feige said that those TV shows do connect up to the movie. So if they were to create a Miles Morales Spider-Man or a Spider-Gwen TV series on Disney Plus, why not be able to hook that up to the features? That would be great. Or to see them bounce into the features, that would be fantastic. You got to keep it fresh. I think Kraven the Hunter is a way to keep it fresh for sure. A lot of rumors going that Kraven is the one that's going to be announced as the villain in the next Spider-Man movie. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. I'd be excited to see that, to be honest with you. So I'm looking forward to that overall. All right, let's see here. Andy Burnett donated again. He said, who is more likely to be the next James Bond, a female or a non-white male? For me, Florence Pugh or Donald Glover. All right, Florence Pugh, and I get it. Everyone's like, Florence Pugh for everything. And I've been doing the same thing. So I'm in no way am I saying that that's an incorrect thought to have, because like I said before, I think she's our new Meryl Streep. And by that, I mean she's the first name people think about when they want to put a certain actress in a movie, when they want to put a good, accomplished actress, a layered actress who can play multiple roles, who can be good in multiple genres and play multiple roles in those genres. Florence Pugh is the first person people think about nowadays, and rightfully so. She's damn good at what she does. So you asked this question: do I think she'd be a female James Bond or a non-white male? I think it matters. I think it's important to think about the fact that they've said already, the producers, that they don't want to go with a female James Bond. So it kind of undercut the Lashana Lynch situation here. Now, it doesn't mean she hasn't been the 00 in the 2 years that Bond has been away, right? She has been handling it, taking care of business. So they're obviously going to work together here in No Time to Die and do their thing. How can I say this correctly? There is no law against doing a 00 series or a 00 series of films that have nothing to do with James Bond. You just have to title it correctly, and I think people would come to see that. James Bond is great, but it's the world that they create every time that I think is fascinating to me. And I think to a lot of people, they enjoy the world of James Bond. So why couldn't you do a 00 something, or you do the title of the film and then understand that the lead in it could be a black woman, a white woman, could be a woman, could be a woman, period. And you could have that as a separate 00 series. James Bond, it couldn't be a James Bond if it's a woman, obviously, because the name is James Bond. So it'd have to be a different name. But non-white male is certainly possible. A lot of people love Idris Elba. There's a lot, Lakeith Stanfield. I've heard Lakeith Stanfield recently as well. Lakeith Stanfield, rather. I've heard a number of people being kicked around. Michael B. Jordan I heard about as well. There's a number of people. There are a number of British actors who are fantastic. I mentioned, was it Joe Cole or Joe, I forget what his name is, the guy from Peaky Blinders. He's incredible in that show as the younger brother, and he's going to be in Gangs of London. He'd be an interesting James Bond to follow on the heels of Daniel Craig. So yeah, my belief is they're going to go with another British white guy, or at the maybe a British black guy at that point. But I don't think they're going to go with a woman, and not because I don't want them to. I just don't. I think the producers have made it very clear that they kind of their ideas are to go with a male 007, because it is James Bond, not Jane Bond, which could be down the road. A 006, 008 Jane Bond, I got no problem with that. Go make it happen. I would have no problem with a 007 Jane Bond. I just don't think the producers have indicated that they'd be willing to go that route. All right, what's the next? See here. All right, Jesse C. donated. He says, sending support for the nation, keeping it going. Can't wait for the sports show coming. Latino representation. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that. Yeah, the sports show is coming. Certainly, Winston and Jay have expressed interest in being a part of it. I got to figure out how to set that up, because my office is limited with the camera and limited with what I can create. And YouTube right now, even though I've gotten over 10,000 followers and I've got, become monetized and all that jazz, YouTube right now has a backup on being able to use their space. So the other option that I was thinking about is that I have a podcast studio that's just around the corner here at Melrose, and they do let us use the camera and the mics. It's $50 an hour. So maybe we could do something like that where we have a little bit of a mini Kickstarter or mini Patreon for the sports show to help us be able to do it every week. Me, Jay, and Winston talking sports for an hour every week and dropping it here on the channel. That's possible. So certainly things in the air. I'm just trying to make sure I figure everything out. A lot of moving pieces overall, but I appreciate the donation and the representation. Thank you, Jesse. Let's see. Giancarlo Jr. Donated some more. He said, do you plan on having these shows on Spotify? Would love to hear your show while at work and ignoring my daily duties. Hashtag the Outlaw, first on Rushmore, fourth at the draft. Nothing but love and support. Hashtag Founding Fathers. Hashtag Horseman. Hashtag Finstock Exchange. Yes, there is a possibility here. Well, no, what I'm working on is doing the podcast feed as the Outlaw Nation podcast feed. And that'll have the Mornings with the Outlaw, a deep cut. By the way, yesterday, fantastic interview with Johnny Flynn from the film Emma. A lot of you may know him as a singer and artist as well. He's done that. If you've seen Beast, that incredible film he did with Jesse Buckley, he's going to be in the upcoming series for the new Mr. Ripley series they're doing on Showtime with Andrew Scott from Fleabag and Sherlock. So that's going to be. And anyway, we talked about all of that in the interview, and I'm dropping it next week. But yes, Deep Cut will be on there. A number of other shows will be on there. The wrestling show Strong Style will be on there. So all of that is going to come to the Outlaw Nation podcast feed. That's what I've been working on. It just takes time to get approved by Apple and Spotify and Google Podcasts, all that stuff through Anchor. So once I set that up, yes, all these are going to be available for people to listen to and go back and listen to if they want and have their thoughts about, certainly. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, Giancarlo. Yeah, remember to subscribe to the channel as well. I already saw like 3 or 4 people subscribing to the channel. Would love it if you could hit that red button down there, hit the bell. The bell is the most important thing after you hit the red button. YouTubers are telling me this. Greg Alba at The Real Rejects, he's like, tell them to hit the bell. Encourage them to hit the bell. The bell's really important. So if you've subscribed to me already and you haven't hit the bell, I'd love it if you hit the bell. And if you're just subscribing to me as you listen to this and you're joining me for the first time here, or maybe joining me for the 4th or 5th time or the 2nd time or whatever time you're joining me and you haven't subscribed yet, you're thinking about it, please hit subscribe. This show is going to continue. This is my anchor show for the rest of my network every morning, talking with you all from Monday through Friday about a lot of stuff. So put that down and hit that subscription button. Also the likes, please. There's over 200 of you in here. Thank you so much for joining me. Would love it if you swung over there and hit that like button. I'm only at 118. Would love to get above 200 likes before the end of the show. And I'm wrapping this thing up around 9:30 so that I can head on over to SCN Live and be a part of the crew there. So just would love it if you guys could swing over, hit that like button. Keep sending in your Streamlabs and your Super Chats. There's a Super Chat here right now, actually. Morse Code Z says, I don't think there will be an expansion of Disney Spider Stuff's trademark. Sorry, I don't think there will be an expansion of Disney Spidey Stuff's trademark without a long-term deal. Yeah, that's a fair point, man. Let me take another drink. I'm getting a little dry here. Yeah, and I think that's what Tom Rothman and Alan Horn were kind of presenting in this back and forth conversation. Listen, no one is more measured with their words than high-level executives or presidents of studios or networks. No one. Every single thing they say is measured out and calculated for effect. So I think Tom Horn and I think Alan Horn and Tom Rothman said the things they said during this roundtable with THR to kind of lay the groundwork of the possibility of working together long-term with this whole Spider-Man situation. So because I think they saw the fans riot when this situation didn't go down the way they wanted. And if you're foolish if you think one drunken phone call or half-drunken phone call from Tom Holland is the thing that turned everything around. It wasn't. It's an element of it, absolutely. But it wasn't the only thing. It wasn't the thing that turned everything around. It was a combo of factors. And I think you're right here. Let me get your name right again. Sorry about that. Let me get your name right again. Morse Code Z. I think you're absolutely right here that there's going to have to be a long-term deal for this to overall work for the fans. Because the fans like security. Why would I invest in a Sony MCU or a Spider-Man MCU a character that will never be back in the MCU again. Why would I invest? Why would I go see that movie? Those storylines are not going to matter. It's like Dark Phoenix. Nobody would see that movie because they're like, it's a lame duck. Nothing of this is going to transfer over into the MCU. Why am I going to see this? It makes no sense. New Mutants will be interesting to see how people react to New Mutants. We'll see. But that's the kind of thing that you have to look at here in this situation is like, yeah, the long-term deal, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. Nothing's going to be expanded until they have a long-term deal so they can set out plans for the universe and where those movies are going to factor in and where those characters are going to factor in as well. All right, let's move on to our next topic, and that is Uncharted. Tom Holland doing an interview here on the Onward red carpet. I want to bring up the quote he had here just a second. He was talking about Uncharted, and he said that Uncharted is going to start shooting in the next 4 weeks. Specifically, he said, he was asked this, and he said, we start shooting in like 4 weeks, he said to IGN on the red carpet. The stunt department that we have out there in Berlin have done an amazing job already prepping the stunts, and it's going to be an exciting one. He ended up as the leading man in the film after talking to Tom Rothman. So this is the connection. Tom Rothman and Tom Holland are essentially like connected at the hip in this scenario, and where they want to go with this is going to be fascinating on so many levels, because you're wondering to yourself, well, what are they going to make this movie about? Who is going to be a part of this thing? And Tom Holland was saying that he was inspired by the fourth game. Here's his further quote. He said, one of my favorite video games ever is the fourth Uncharted game. And lots of inspiration for the film has come from that game in particular. When I sat down with Sony Chairman Tom Rothman and we were talking about video games, and I was I've just finished Uncharted, and he was like, well, why don't you play Nathan Drake? And I remember being like, I would do anything to play Nathan Drake. Now, in this fourth version of the video game, which by the way, my friend Shannon McClung, my fellow geek buddy, he is a massive fan of the Uncharted series. He said it's Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. It finds Drake living a life of retirement when he's pulled into a search for the English pirate Henry Avery's long-lost treasure by his estranged brother Samuel, with Sully along for the ride. So this sounds, obviously, it's weird to say, well, the fourth game is what might be the influence for this movie. It might be just the general stuff about going after this treasure and this person's treasure, but obviously we're not going to have a Tom Holland that is retired as Nathan Drake because he looks so young. This might be like one of his first few missions as Nathan Drake. So we'll get the stumbles and the successes, kind of like we got in Batman Begins with Bruce Wayne becoming the Batman and the mistakes he made trying to get the things done as a caped crusader in his first year as the Batman. Those kinds of things factor into the situation. And we kind of love an underdog. So if Nathan Drake's presented to us as a guy who has everything figured out at such a young age, I think people would have an averse reaction to that. So I think a positive way to go about it is him kind of either doing it in flashback or just starting there from a young age and figuring it all out. And of course, Mark Wahlberg, who was initially going to be a part of this thing as Nathan Drake, he is now, this thing has been in development for so long that he has now transitioned into playing Sully. He's going to be Sully, which is essentially Nathan Drake's mentor in this whole world of the Uncharted universe. It begins filming next month is what they're saying, 4 weeks from now. They've had 6 directors go through this thing, including most recently Travis Knight, who did Bumblebee. A lot of people liked Bumblebee, but now it looks like they're kind of settling on Ruben Fleischer, who did Venom and Zombieland 1 and 2. Now, I like Zombieland 1. Zombieland 2 was cool too. It wasn't bad in any way, shape, or form. Felt like some of the jokes were the same, but overall, an enjoyable time at the theater. If you want to hear my interview with the 2 writers of the film, Rhett and Warner, you can take a look there on my YouTube page, all the way down there where it says events. There's a video of me doing monster truck stuff and getting to interview Rhett Reese and Paul Warner, the writers for Zombieland 2. So go and take a look at that if you like. But yeah, this whole situation with Ruben Fleischer's coming in. Maybe Ruben Fleischer is Sony's utility man for these situations. He'll step in and do a decent job with Uncharted. We'll see. I mean, a lot of people are excited for this. They're looking forward to this. They want to see where it goes. And then you've got Indiana Jones starting production soon as well, according to Harrison Ford. So both of these films might be coming out in 2021, the summer 2021. Won't that be interesting to see how the fans' reaction to that is going to be? Because like this started to feel like Gambit. This started to feel like the Flash movie, where it was like, oh, so many directors were going in and out of this thing, and it wasn't going to happen. Let me see if I've got a list of the directors who've been a part of this thing. Let's see. What are the directors? Do they have a list of them? Yeah, okay. Neil Berger was going to do it, who had directed Divergent. Seth Gordon, who had done Baywatch. Sean Levy, who had done The Internship. Dan Trachtenberg, who had done 10 Cloverfield Lane. And Travis Knight were the other ones. I mean, Nathan Fillion this had been going on so long that Nathan Fillion was being kicked around as a possibility to slide into this role. So that's how long this thing has been in pre-production or production to try to make this happen and not had it come to fruition. So that's the thing we want to see from him. Eventually, we'll see how this all plays out as this goes down. But I'm excited to see Tom Holland do this role. It's going to be a challenging role for him because, like with Alicia Vikander in Tomb Raider, he seems a bit slight for me, as tough as he is as Spider-Man. And of course, Spider-Man is the strength of 10 men or more. Nathan Drake does not have that. So are we going to connect with his childlike innocence, his charm as Nathan Drake? I wonder, because Nathan Drake is kind of like a pseudo Indiana Jones for a lot of people. So a young Tom Holland playing a young Nathan Drake, I wonder how many people are going to react positively to that and if they're going to get it right. Because that Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider film is a decent film. It's not a great film. There are some issues with that film. And so if it comes out after all this pre-production, after all this effort, after all these directors have come and gone, and it's just like a meh film, then what did we wait for, right? It's like Dark Tower. We waited years for the Dark Tower, and when it came out, it was a big old meh. It was just a waste, And so you hope that they get it right here and do things correctly for the film, and we'll see as it goes down what Tom Holland does. All right, let's move on to your next. Okay, Ben Rayner sent in a super chat. He said, "You make great videos, Rocha. We'll follow you with your shows." Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. I'll be honest with you guys, because I'm the Outlaw. This is the Outlaw Nation. I don't lie to you all. I get nervous sometimes making these videos and creating these things. I think that's the reason I don't have even more content on the website, because I get nervous about doing stuff. Like I should have totally done a Birds of Prey movie review, a spoiler review, and I never did, because I was like, do people really want to hear from me on this? I don't know. And then I got caught up. I recorded one, then totally deleted it because I didn't like the things I had to say. So those are things that are part of my learning process. And I'm afraid if I do a bad one, you all are not going to want to be listening to any of my reviews going forward. So those are the things that I struggle with and I'm struggling with. But eventually I'm coming to terms with it and letting it go and putting stuff out there. So those are the goals now. I'll be doing an Invisible Man spoiler review. If I get out to see Sonic sometime next couple of days, I'll do a spoiler review for Sonic. So those are those things. And then Onward, if I get into the Onward screening on Saturday, and I'll reach out to Disney today and find out if I will definitely do an Onward review for that. So I just got to keep doing it. So those are things. So I appreciate you giving me a support here, Ben, through your super chat, telling me how much you like my videos. All right, let's move on to see if there's any more donations here from the Streamlabs. Jake Yacovetta, thank you, Jake. Shout out to Ben Landers in the chat for being a 24/7 caretaker for his mom. That's a good dude right there. Oh, Ben. Yeah, shout out to you, my friend. That's pretty awesome, dude. It's not an easy thing to do. I'm sure there's a lot of struggles in doing that, but the love for your mother, I'm sure, supersedes all of that. So sending you a lot of love, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and watch my stuff. Hopefully, I make you excited. Hopefully, I make you enjoy this time that you're listening to me or watching me or reading the chat, because the chat is very vibrant. It's very vibrant, the chat room in this today. So I love it. I love it that you guys have your own separate conversations while you got me going on in your background. But shout out to you, Ben, sending you love and support. Let us know if you need anything. Let me know if you want me to make a separate video for you. Let me know. Send me an email or whatever. All right, Jason Bradshaw also donated here in the Streamlabs. You don't really have a question, just wanted to donate. I appreciate everything you do and keep up the great work, Outlaw. Oh, thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you, man. I'm doing what I can. Putting this thing together. I like the energy that you all are giving me, the positive energy, supportive energy that's happening. And I think people are starting to notice. Certainly, I had a call yesterday about a possibility, and someone was mentioning Mornings with the Outlaw, and they were just excited and surprised at how it's really done as well so quickly. So thank you all so much for coming aboard this train. And I got nothing without you all, so I appreciate it madly. All right, we're at over 250 viewers, only at 138 likes. Would love it if you're in here to swing your cursor over, hit like on that button, hit that like button rather. And if you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe. Also, keep sending in your Streamlabs, keep sending in your Super Chats. I want to answer all your Super Chats and Streamlabs questions today before I head out here in the next 25 minutes. Head over to SEN Live. Depending on how it goes, I might cut it just a few minutes short because I want to get a little bit of breakfast before I slide on over. I didn't get a chance to get breakfast this morning. Stayed a little bit extra longer with the lady this morning in bed, just talking about what we're doing with the next couple of days and with our weekend. So we're possibly looking at moving to back to El Segundo in California because there's just too much drama going on in Beverly Hills lately and around our area. And we just kind of feel like we need a little more of a peaceful situation. And we're looking at a place that could also be essentially another studio, a little bit of a bigger studio for me to put the Outlaw Nation in and then be able to shoot stuff with. So all up in the air. We'll see what happens down the road. But that's kind of why I stayed in bed this morning a little more for us to have a conversation about it. Got to put the time in with the lady, ladies and gentlemen. I can't tell you more anything that's more essential in relationships than spending time with your significant other and making them feel important. You may go off and do a million things, but make them feel important for the time you're with them so that they know you're in their corner and they know you got their back. It's really, it doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes a certain amount of time, concentrated time. What did Martin Lawrence say in Bad Boys? This is my quality time, man. My quality time. Need my QT. All right, let me take a little bit of a drink and we'll jump into the next thing. Please send your Streamlabs in. Send your Super Chats in. I'm going to answer. I'm focusing on those today, the Streamlabs and the Super Chats, answering them, getting them, any question you want to ask me from the world of entertainment or from the world. Anything you want to ask me, I'm willing to answer here until we wrap this thing up in a little bit, in 24 minutes. All right, I'm taking a sip. All right. Travis Earl says, nice, Rocha. Keep at it. I appreciate that. Louis Macias says, fear not, John. We are here for your bloopers, and we all love your shows. Is why we are your fans, amigo. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Haskell 420, what is drama? LOL. Yeah, a lot of drama. A lot of stuff going on around here. There's just a lot of battles and legal stuff going on with other tenants and others, and it's just just causing a lot of issues. The water heater breaking down caused a lot of issues. And now, apparently, they're earthquake retrofitting our place. They didn't tell us about it. And for a month now, people are going to be drilling into the parking garage, which is literally underneath us. So it causes loud noises. So me recording voiceovers or me doing the Geek Buddies over here or Cinephiles or Top 10 gets affected by the loud noises that are going on. So just kind of overall, it's a bit of a hassle for what I'm trying to create. Dory the Hobbit says, John, you're a crazy busy dude. You're in trouble with your lady. Yeah, right. Sure I am. I'm not. She totally respects it and understands it, and she's great. Yeah, hit the likes, everybody. We're over at 200. We're almost at 250 people. We were at 251 now, a little bit dropped. Would love it if you guys hit the likes. We're only at 144. Would love to get that likes up. Also, there's only been a couple of Super Chats, and there have been a few Streamlabs. Would love you all to keep sending that stuff in like you do for SCN Live. I want to answer your questions. Send in your Streamlabs. Send in your Super Chats. Those are things I'm focusing on going forward to kind of encourage you all to send them in so that I can answer them and get them on the board. All right. Is that everything else? Yeah. All right. So let's move on to our next topic, and that is the Onward first reactions to the film. This, like I said, there was a screening of the film last week. Oh, no, sorry, earlier this week. And some people went out to some of the critics were invited. Some critics were not invited. But they issued their thoughts on the film, and let's get some first reactions from people. First off is our own Christian Harloff. He said, thought Onward had that Pixar magic, pun intended. I was hoping for a few more laughs, but it delivered on the emotional levels. Relationship between Chris Pratt and Tom Holland is why you go, and Octavia Spencer is why you stay. You can feel how personal this story is. That's great to hear. Great review, or good review right there from Christian Harloff about Onward. Mentioning that he enjoyed the relationship between the two brothers, which is what Chris Pratt and Tom Holland are playing as they go and try to what's the word I'm looking for? bring the rest of their father back to life. If you saw the trailers, basically they've got the staff and they've got only half their dad and his legs, and it's like the journey about figuring this all out. So I'm looking forward to seeing if it's any good, seeing if it's got the right flavor. Let's move on to another one. That's Ashley Menzel, who I'm over at the Hollywood Critics Association. Ashley and Scott are two big people involved with them. I want to give Ashley some love today. I'll give Scott some love on another first reactions video for sure. Onward leads us on a quest to discover the power of brotherhood and the joy in the magical. Barley and Ian's chemistry wins over our hearts. I imagine Barley and Ian are the characters that Tom Holland and Chris Pratt are playing. A welcome departure from Pixar's usual fare. It is more emotional than I anticipated, and the enchanting trick up Pixar's sleeve we did not expect. So interesting stuff there. Yeah, some nice, there's obviously allusion to a bit of a twist in this film from both Christian and Ashley in their reviews. Ashley saying it's a welcome departure from Pixar's usual fare, I think speaks highly of this film. Taking chances are what Pixar needs to do. I mean, Good Dinosaur didn't work out so well, but there have been other chances they've taken that have worked out. So Onward could be one of those situations. The power of brotherhood and the joy in the magical. Couldn't say it any better than that. That's an awesome thing to look at there. Let's move on to our next one. That's from Jermaine Lucier, someone I really enjoy reading his reviews. If you're sensing Onward isn't quite up to the Pixar standard, you're right. It's beautiful and packs a huge emotional wallop, but for the most part is a standard road trip adventure story that gets boosted by an excellent ending. It's good, not great, and that's a letdown for Pixar. So is a positive review overall, but not a great review overall, is what Jermaine is basically saying. It's a good film. It's got some standard stuff going on, some cliche stuff probably that goes on in a standard road trip adventure story, and it's helped by an excellent ending, but overall it's a good film, not a great film. But, and that's the thing that unfortunately you are subject to when you're Pixar, is that you're subjected to, well, people expect you to knock it out of the park. And if you don't knock it out of the park, people are like, well, what's this all about? It's not, I felt emotional, but I didn't go, this is the greatest film ever, and a lot of people walk out of films like Inside Out and Incredibles 2 and all the recent Pixar fare and talk about how much they enjoyed it. Good Dinosaur, not so much, but pretty much most of the films this side of Cars 2 and Cars 2 and The Good Dinosaur get a lot of love from the fans for the ingenuity and craftsmanship and creativity of Pixar. But that's a high bar to try to cross every single time we release a movie. All right, let's move on to Jenna Bush's thoughts here. She said, Pixar's Onward was so lovely. I wish there was more marketing for it. Dungeons & Dragons fans are going to love it, and so will everyone else. There are trash unicorns, you guys. Trash unicorns! Seriously, go see this. Hashtag trash unicorns. Hashtag I've never loved a hashtag more. So there you go. She's apparently the trash unicorns are a big deal here in the film, and certainly we saw them in the trailer. So that's funny for Jenna to point that out because the idea of unicorns rummaging through your trash really kind of devalues this idea of the magical nature of unicorns, having them be just these low rent animals that are scavenging for food is really funny. So certainly it seems like there's a lot of magical creatures, a lot of magical characters in this film. So that'll be exciting to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. But all the reviews haven't been 100% positive overall. Let's move on to Eric Eisenberg's review, a guy who I respect very much. He said, I can't say that I'm a big fan of Onward. The characters are fun and the message is strong, but it also has a number of ideas that don't feel fully fleshed out. And it's surprisingly basic as far as story. It has some cute and emotional moments, but didn't work for me overall. All right, so it's not a positive review, I would say, but it's also not a negative review, right? It says he's not a big fan of it, but the characters are fun and the message is strong, but the ideas don't feel fully fleshed out and it feels a bit basic. It says there's cute emotional moments, but overall just didn't work for him. So not a positive review from Eric Eisenberg there, but still there's enough to possibly enjoy if you're going to take your kids to go see this thing, enough for them to just kind of take a little bit of time to see something. You share a viewing experience with your child and then walk on out. So maybe you don't sit around and talk about this one as much as you talk about other Pixar films in that way. So it's not, I would say there's mixed reviews here because there's some really positive reviews and then some people who are like not 100% behind it. Let's get to our last one. That is from Allison Foreman. She said, Onward is weird and wonderful, consistently surprising, appropriately sweet, occasionally profound, perfectly Pixar. My only complaints We don't get enough of the trash unicorns. There's the trash unicorns again. And it made me want to call my dad's legs. Hashtag Onward Pixar. Hashtag Onward. I like that. That's a sweet review in that way. Only complaints, straight to the point. Trash unicorn's a big deal, and wanting you call your dad legs. I don't know if that's a complaint. I think that's a funny complaint to want to call your dad legs. So that's a interesting review. So I like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's good. It is a Pixar film, so what do you expect? Only certain things from certain things from Pixar films, and it sounds like it doesn't 100% hit those things, but it feels like a very subjective movie. And by that I mean you go in and your experience is going to be your experience. It may not be a communal experience. So, and I think that's where sometimes, that's what I mean by very subjective movie versus a subjective movie. Subjective movie, you walk in and it's like you can be caught up in the swell of everybody loving a movie. Very subjective means that there are certain decisions made by the filmmakers or the creatives behind the film that can divide the audience or make the audience feel one way or another. That's how I feel about the Star Wars films, except for Force Awakens. Pretty much Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalkers are very subjective movies, and you go in and then you're very clear about what side of the fence you're on by the time the movie is over. And it feels like Onward has that vibe to it as well from Pixar. Remember Soul's coming out later on this year. I'm looking forward to that one. I did have my comments about it on the Geek Buddies, and then I was told certain things about it. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing that one. I have a source who works with Pixar, and they said to me that they cut the budget for Onward because they do have a marketing budget for Onward because they do have a feeling that it's not going to do as well as Soul. They want to put more of their marketing behind Soul than Onward. So this is one of those good to middling to possibly fun movies that Pixar puts out, and that's okay. Everything doesn't have to like change the world that they put out. So overall, I think that's not a negative to have a good film, kind of a play. And remember, this is February, so it's where the dumping ground is for some studios' films. Maybe they felt Onward wasn't as strong of a film, so they put it in February and let it be what it is. But you're getting positive compliments about Tom Holland and about Chris Pratt for their work on Octavia Spencer. Christian Harloff pointed out Octavia Spencer. That's a positive overall. So you are not going to have a bad experience, it seems like, when you go see Onward. You might just be disappointed or may not be as moved by it. Or you may have the emotions that Jenna Bush had and a couple other reviewers we saw here who loved it, who enjoyed the emotional beats that were played out here and enjoyed the characters. So we'll see going forward. I'll certainly be doing an Onward review once I get out to see it, and then would love to hear what you all think about it as we go along. All right, let's jump into these super chats and these Streamlabs. Please send in your Streamlabs. Jake Jacobetta is putting it in there. Thank you so much, Jake. I appreciate you putting in the addresses for the Streamlabs. Also, the Patreon is up. Please go and join my Patreon, www.patreon.com/John Rocha. That's going to start kicking up and picking up speed pretty soon. Me and John Mariano are working on a business plan, or a schedule for doing more and more with the patron fans and making more of me, giving more of my time to them. Matthew Hannon has sent in here Super Chat. He said, I'm from New York and I've never been to California. What would you recommend I see or do if I were able to take a short trip, especially outdoorsy stuff? Ooh, outdoorsy stuff? Well, look, I'm always going to tell you to default to the tours where they go to celebrities' houses, because if you've never been to California, it's a good way of knowing the small communities that exist within Los Angeles, right? That you can drive around to, because every section of Los Angeles has its own name. Beverlywood, Hancock Park, La Cienega Heights, things of that nature. They all have different names. West Hollywood, Hollywood proper. They all have different names for certain sections. You can go 10 minutes, 15 minutes West LA, or 20 minutes Westwood. Those things are all around. So that's what I recommend. Also, hiking to the Hollywood sign on Beechwood Canyon, using the Beechwood Canyon hike. That's a fun thing to do. Hiking Griffith Park to go up to the observatory, that's a really fun thing to do. The observatory is awesome to be there. You can bring out a picnic lunch and sit down on the grass and look out on the skyline of Los Angeles, especially if it's a beautiful sunny day without too much smog. You can enjoy yourself in that way as well. Also, but if you want to go indoors, maybe you can also do these well, not indoors, but you can do indoor/outdoors. And the studios have these tours that they do. Warner Brothers has a great studio tour that you go into the sets and out of the sets as well. Universal Studios has a fun little tour that you can go to the park, the theme park, and then do the tour as well. So there's a lot that you can do outdoorsy wise. You can hike Runyon Canyon. You can go drive over to Malibu. You could drive over to Santa Monica and walk from Venice to Santa Monica and back on the boardwalk. So that's a lot that you can do there as well. If you're into art, you can go to the Getty, and the Getty takes you on this train up to the Getty, and you can walk around the Getty. You go inside the Getty and walk around the Getty as well. So once again, an indoor-outdoor experience. So there's a lot of things you can do if you want to do LA the right way in the outdoorsy situation. You can even hike to waterfalls if you want. So, all right, let's move on to some Streamlabs. If I got any Streamlabs coming in here. Let's see. Andrew G donated. He said, "If I'm an animator and used to love going to see Pixar films, but the more recent stuff just doesn't do it for me. Wall-E was the last one I really loved. Up and Inside Out got me crying pretty good. Not a fan of when they do sequels. Pixar do better." All right, well, there you go. There you go. Andrew G, a little upset about Pixar. Hey, Andrew, if you're an animator, I wonder if you'd be willing to animate something for Mornings with the Outlaw. It'd be kind of fun to see if you could create something we could play as like a beginning 20-second thing to start the show. That kind of, that animates me getting ready to do the show of Mornings with the Outlaw. That'd be kind of fun. I'd be down to see it, and I certainly give you all the credit in the world and all the social media and all this. So if you're down for it, Andrew G, I respect that. Now, I love that rather. Now, I respect your opinion about Pixar and what your feelings are. A lot of people feel that the quality from the beginning isn't the quality that you see now, but when the quality comes through, like Inside Out. Remember, Inside Out isn't that long ago. It really comes through. A lot of people loved Incredibles 2. I think that thing made over $1 billion. So a lot of people enjoyed Incredibles. Certainly Matt Nost on Top 10. He's a big fan of Incredibles 2. Tries to shove it into every Top 10 list we do. So I know he's a big fan of it. And so a lot of people enjoy that. But I get your point of view. Certainly there's been the talk that a lot of people think it's okay. It's not that great. The last few films of Pixar. So maybe Soul will turn that around, and the exchange is we get a good to middling Onward in exchange for Soul being incredible. So we shall see. All right, 265 of you in here. Thank you so much for joining me. Can we hit that like button? I really want to get above 200 before I wrap this thing up here in the next 9 minutes. I'm at 161 right now. If you have a cursor, can you move your cursor over or move your finger over on the pad there and hit that like button? I'd really appreciate it. If you want to send in your Streamlabs, trying to focus on those questions more than the regular questions, the Streamlabs questions, the Super Chat questions. Would love it if you all sent that stuff in. It would mean a lot to be able to answer your questions and to be able to have conversations with you about these things. Yeah, Andy Bennett says, Matthew Hannon, if you donate enough, John Rocha will give you a guided tour. Listen, I have tiers on my Patreon of certain levels. Now, we can negotiate something if you really want me to give you a guided tour of this city. Absolutely. I'm not above it. I enjoy the fans, enjoy hanging out with the fans. So it's always fun to do those kinds of things with you all. So that'd be a lot of fun. Thank you, Tim Franco, for the like. Thanks for joining us here. Thanks, DiMolanta, for being in here. DiMolanta, are you working on this thing I posted on our Twitter thread? Are you working on this music video? As I mentioned, you better be working on that music video. I'm just putting it out there. Pappy M says, Inside Out was amazing. Incredible 2 was 12 years too late. All right, that's fine. Oh shit, it's Tim Franco's birthday. That's the first time I've cussed today. It's Tim Franco's birthday. Hey, happy birthday, Tim Franco. A guy I really love to pieces with his wife, Ashley. These two people were the first followers or fans of mine who I was able to interact with and get to know. You guys know him as Frank the Tank. There in the Schmodown world. He played Matt Atchity, he won by TKO. He played Late to the Party, beat them, he won by TKO. Then he beat the Loose Cannons in his team, and then lost to Who's the Boss, unfortunately. So got a good record here, 1-0 in singles, 2-1 in teams. He was with the Quirky Mercs. He was under corruption. His current teammate now is Haley Fouch, who's awesome. He used to team up with Stacey Howard. He was nominated for 2017 Rookie of the Year in the Schmodown. 2019 Best Teams entrance with Stacey Howard as his partner, which was revealed as his partner. 2019 Upset of the Year when Crimson Fury beat Loose Cannons, and 2019 Heel Team of the Year, Crimson Fury, him and Stacey Howard. Those were the nominations that he was in. And in the Ultimate Team Schmodown, as a tag team, he got to the quarterfinals there in 2019. So Tim Franco, a storied history in the Schmodown. Certainly a good energy guy, always with a positive smile and an authentic interaction you always have with Tim Franco. So happy birthday, Tim. Love you, my man. You the best. You the best, Tom. Not me. Tim, you the best. I'm taking another sip because my throat is getting real dry. All right. Any other Streamlabs coming in? All right. No more Streamlabs coming in. No more Super Chats. Let's see. I got about maybe 5 minutes before I got to wrap this thing. Oh, wait. I got maybe 5 minutes before I wrap this thing up. Let me tell you real quick as I wrap this up. Thank you all so much for all the support you've given the Outlaw Nation. It's building. It's growing step by step, piece by piece, brick by brick. We're building this thing, and I couldn't do it without all of you, and I appreciate all the support you give, all the love you give to all the programs that are on here. And speaking of which, I should tell you, a new Geek Buddies episode will be dropping later today. We'll talk about a number of things that have gone on over the last week. That's only a weekly show, so we talk about things that have happened over the last week. And we also dropped last night, and it's out here for you to watch on YouTube and to listen on the Geek Buddies podcast feed, which you can find in the descriptions of this particular video. We did our spoiler review for episodes 3 and 4 of Picard. All three of us have been enjoying the Picard series, so we recorded a review of it, and it's up there on the YouTube channel, about a 25-minute review of the last 2 episodes of Picard in anticipation for the new episode that's dropping today. We thought we'd put it out for people to enjoy. You can listen to it or you can watch it. So go and do that. Also, a new episode of Strong Style is up, the professional wrestling show that I do with my man Aaron Turner. He's at Only Aaron Turner out of Orlando. We do our Skype call and we record each other on video talking about a match, revisiting a match in the history of professional wrestling. We just revisited Once in a Lifetime, which of course became Twice in a Lifetime, but with a Once in a Lifetime WrestleMania match between The Rock and John Cena, because of both of these people being involved now in the Fast and Furious series, the Fast 9 series. We put that up there. So that's up for you to enjoy as well. That's under the Strong Style playlist. Oh, and the Picard one is on the TV Reviews playlist, which I just started on there as well. Let's see. Is there anything else? Yeah, Mornings with the Outlaw. Anything else? I think there's some live streams up there from the past that you can go and revisit and watch as well. Give all the love you can to that kind of stuff. As I mentioned, the Patreon, www.patreon.com/John Rocha. Oh, don't forget, new Top 10 dropped on Tuesday. The Top 10 show, me and Matt Nost, it dropped, and it is the top 10 English period films. We're doing that in honor of Emma coming out this weekend, which is damn good. I really enjoyed Emma. If you like an English period film, this is fun. It's slightly anachronistic in spots, which keeps it fresh and enjoyable, and great performances from Anya Taylor-Joy, Bill Nighy, from Johnny Flynn, who I interviewed for the Deep Cut coming up next week, and a number of other actors in this film that are just Callum Turner, that are just so much fun to enjoy and watch in the movie. So give it some love. Go and see it if you're into English period films. And listen to Matt and I break down our top 10 English period films on the Top 10 podcast feed. That's also in the description here on this particular video. Anything else? The Cinephiles. We'll be dropping our first episode of the Cinephiles. Not the first episode. What did I say? We're dropping our next episode of the Cinephiles tonight at midnight, tomorrow morning, Friday. It'll drop there on the podcast feed. Also in the description, you can go and take a look at that. We are revisiting Raiders of the Lost Ark. That was the first episode we ever did. So many people have been clamoring for us to revisit that episode and put it in the style that we do nowadays with films. So break it down in the style that we break down films nowadays on the Cinephile. So we did that. Part 1 will be up tomorrow. Shannon McClung, my fellow geek buddy, or our friend, is our guest for that. We're also doing part 2 next week. Then we're doing Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So back-to-back Raise the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade on the Cinephiles. Go and subscribe to that podcast feed as well. All right, that's it. Please give me some likes here. We didn't get to 200. I was hoping we'd get to 200, but sadly we didn't get there. But, doesn't mean you can't. As you're listening to this, maybe some of you are just catching up. Would love it if you gave it some love and gave it some likes there as it goes along. Shout out to Jake Iacovetta. Jake, you are incredible. Thank you so much for all the stuff you put up. Yeah, look, Jake put up the Geek Buddies Picard spoiler review right there. Go and hit that link and watch it. Give it some love. Give it some likes. Give us some comments. I always enjoy the comments. The comments are fun to read, and I appreciate that very, very much, and all of that goes on there. All right, have yourselves a great rest of your day here on this lovely Thursday as we get ready for the weekend. I'll be back tomorrow morning on Friday for another episode of Mornings with the Outlaw, but now I'm on my way to SCN Live, so come and join me in half an hour, 10 a.m. live, 10 a.m. PT live on the Smart Entertainment Network, beyond SCN Live with Christian Harloff and the whole crew, having a lot of fun talking about the world of entertainment and answering your crazy questions. So, all right, thanks everybody. Remember, you can send in the Streamlabs whenever you want. Doesn't have to be when the show is going on. If you send Streamlabs, maybe you think of something throughout the day, send it in, and I will answer it first thing tomorrow. All right, love to all of you. Again, love to Jake Iacovetta for moderating. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow morning for another episode of Mornings with the Outlaw.